Here we are back at it again. Another night, another video. And today, this video was inspired by a talk that I had with a few family members a couple years back, and we got to talking, discussing amongst us men, and it posed a very important question. And the question was, what is success to you? What does success mean? Right? What does success look like? And as I got to thinking about it, my response was very haste, but at the same time, it was very, very well thought out, right? Now, here's the thing: success is objective. But wait, is that your opinion? Is success objective? That's the question that we're asking, right? A lot of people have a lot of different definitions of success. Success can be seen in a lot of different ways. Success can come in all shapes, sizes, genders, colors, ethnicities, races, whatever you want to call it, nationalities. Success, I think we have to take a deeper dive into, right? So, without further ado, let's get straight into the topic, right? So, success is objective. That's the question that we're talking about. But let's unpack it a little bit, right? As usual, I have a few different talking points on this, right? So, number one, let's talk about the external view of objective success. Objectively, success is often measured by standards that can be seen or quantified, which is things like wealth or income, career achievements, education, fame or influence, or social status, right? These are the metrics society uses because they are visible and comparable, but they don't necessarily reflect personal fulfillment or happiness. And that's the thing about it. If you're determining success by personal fulfillment or happiness, then you may have different metrics, right? You may have different measurements of which you contribute success to. So that's the thing about it. If you're reflecting on like I say, personal fulfillment or happiness, then the things which you measure success by may be a lot different. All right. Point number two is subjective success, where we have a interview. For most people, subjective success is defined by personal meaning. For one person, success may mean owning a business. For another, it might mean raising a family or living peacefully in nature. And for someone else, it might simply mean feeling free, healthy, or just being content with what you have, right? So subjective success asks, am I living in alignment with my values and what truly fulfills me? I think to most people that should be the ultimate question. Not saying that it's the right or the wrong thing to ask, but I'm saying that should always be a question when you're looking at success subjectively. Now, with subjective and objective success, we have to have a balance between the two, right? We have to have a healthy balance. I believe within everything in life you have to have a healthy balance. So the healthiest version of success often blends both. For instance, we have objective markers, which could be goals, progress, tangible results. Or with the subjective fulfillment, we have joy, purpose, peace, self-respect. But without the second part, even people who have everything, they could feel empty. And a lot of times I think with celebrities or with people that we just highly admire, that are way up in the socioeconomic status or way up in the social status, that's often what we see transpires later in life, right? They feel empty even though they have all the materials, even though they have the fame, even though they have all the things that we may be striving towards to have. A lot of times we could see people coming out and they're still empty, right? Subjectively. Now, the biggest point I want to make is that success is not universal. It's personal. It's not what others see. It's what feels right to you. And that's my biggest thing. So for me, I think when you set out and you pursue something and you have goals and you have things that you want to accomplish, if you accomplish those, if you set out to do something and you do just that, I think you are successful because that's what you had for yourself. That's what I believe. Now, it's a flip side of that, right? Where we have to look at things on a competitive scale. So, what I have now is a few reflective questions, that relate to success that will help you uncover your personal definition of success beyond society's version, right? So, the first one I have is it has to do with values and fulfillment. So, check this out. What activities or experiences make you feel most alive or at peace, right? Or when have I truly felt proud of myself and why? Okay. Or which values, which could be freedom, family, creativity, integrity, growth, which of those matter most to you? That is one way that you can reflect on if you're successful or not, right? The second list of reflection questions I have to deal with impact and meaning. So, what kind of impact do I want to have on others or the world? This is a question I often ask myself. If no one could see or judge my life, what would I still choose to do? That's another big one. Like if money was no object, if I could just wake up every day and be happy doing this, what would it be? And am I doing that currently? Right? Whose lives do I most admire? And what does that reveal about my version of success? This is one I used to struggle with. Okay. This is one I used to struggle with because the people that I look up to, extremely talented, extremely gifted by God, right? It's not I believe that it's not something that majority of people can work up to. I feel like it's something that you have to be born with, right? So when I look up to people whose lives I admire and I compare that to my own self, I had to kind of get away from the comparison because I'm like, it's very hard for me to live up to that because I wasn't born with those gifts. I just wasn't. And as hard as I've worked, I've grown a great deal, but still I look at it and I say like no matter how hard I work, I can never be this just because I wasn't born like that, right? It's stuff that's out of my control. But as far as growth and development of the inner me, yes, for sure, for sure. But I don't necessarily compare that to what my version of success for myself looks like or I consider is currently. I just kind of like continue to look at the people that I admire and say, okay, I want to be like that. I'll continue striving towards that, right? Not necessarily that version, but my own version, if that makes sense. All right. Now, the next set of questions I have to do with balance and well being, which are how do I want to feel on the average day, right? Emotionally, physically, mentally, spiritually, right? How do I want to feel on the average day? Or what would enough look like for me in terms of money, time, and achievement? This is a big one because I've always said I'm not one of the guys like I respect the entrepreneurs who want to go out there and have the take over the world mentality and have the I want to conquer and dominate this industry and things like that. I respect people like that. But for me, I know in at least in my life, I've always said that I'm fine with having enough for me and enough to take care of others, right? Whatever that may be. And I'm not gonna lie, at a certain amount of income, that does happen, but on the lower end, it does not. So that's my thing. And that's why I continuously work so hard because I do want to have enough money or enough time, enough freedom to take care of me, my family, and others. Right. Now, outside of that, yes, if it comes, it comes. But I'm not one of those get rich or die trying people. I'm just not. Like, I'm not one of those guys. I'm not one of those guys who's gonna sacrifice 18 hours out of every day of my life in order to have money, to have millions and billions of dollars. I don't care about it that much. Like you know what I'm saying? I feel like any idiot can get money. Having money or making a lot of money doesn't really like tell who you are as a person. It don't really like nothing about you stands out just because you have a lot of money. To me, right? You could be a like I'm not gonna go into it, but I'm just gonna be honest. Like I'm not impressed by people with money. Like the people that I see physically, the people that I hear speak, I'm not always the most impressed with because they have money. There's more to it, right? There's more things that I value and that I respect in a person besides just an income or a social status. And I think it transpires, it goes far beyond an income level. What am I willing to let go of to make space for what truly matters? And I've been doing this lately. Like I say, once you start looking at leadership in a different way, and you start understanding more about time and time management, then you start looking for things to cut out of your life instead of things to add in. You start to look at, how can I condense more things down to make myself more efficient or make things run smooth or make me more happier. That's what I look at. And the last set of questions I have deals with vision and direction. If everything were possible, what would my ideal life look like in 5 to 10 years? Or what one small change could I make today to move closer to that life? These are things that I'm implementing every day as far as my vision and direction. I always say it, the reverse engineering, right? The 5 to 10 years, heck, the 10 to 15 years, or shoot, the 15 to 20 years. What does my ideal life look like? And what steps am I making today that'll get me closer to that life? And that's how I have to wake up thinking, and that's the mentality I have to have every day when I'm pursuing things or when I'm carrying out daily tasks, right? So here's another one, and this is going to be the last question. Success to me is living a life where blank happens, or this happens, or my morning schedule looks like this, or my daily schedule looks like this. That should, you should fill in that blank as honest as possible, right? With no overthinking, but that single response should be your personal definition. My ideal life, where success is to me, where I'm living a life where this is happening or it looks like this. And that's all I want to leave you guys with. Again, we could talk about it on different levels, we can discuss it on different levels, but ultimately, is success objective? It is not. There's multiple definitions of success. There's multiple looks that success has. It's not fixed. It's not a one shoe fits all. And you can never really determine who's going to be successful at what and when and why. You just can't. So, yeah, no, success is not objective. If you're asking my opinion, I don't believe so. But again, that's just me and my limited experience. Now, I would love to hear what you guys think about success. I would love to hear your comments, or see them down in the comments below. Just let me know what you think, man. Is success objective to you? Or what are some measures of success that you have? What are some reverse engineering tactics that you are using to achieve the life that you want to live, in your older days when you're slowing down and you're not in the hustles and bustles of life, right? Again, let me know, drop it down in the comments, and I'm gonna get back to y'all on another video. I have nothing more for y'all. I'm out.
Pop it off.